Hi, I'm Chiara Giorio. Welcome to the fourth floor of the chemistry department. Today I'm going to show you my labs. These are the mass spectrometry lab, the optical lab, and the smoke chamber. In my group, we focus on air pollution and climate change. We work using both field measurements and an experimental approach by doing laboratory measurements for understanding the impact for climate change of chemical transformation in aerosol particles in the atmosphere, and also the impact on human health by evaluating the toxicity of these particles. This is the mass spectrometry lab, and here you can see the Orbitrap. It's a high-resolution mass spectrometer. So high resolution means that with these instruments we have the ability to measure very small differences in the mass of single molecules. So for example, if you have two molecules of very similar mass, with high resolution instruments you can distinguish these two molecules, while with low resolution instruments you cannot. And we use this instrument for air pollution studies. So we are interested to know what's the toxicity of the aerosol particles that are suspended in the air in urban environment or volcanic regions. And to measure the toxicity of these particles, we dissolve them in a solution that simulates the lung fluid. And then with this instrument we can see if the antioxidants that are normally present in the lung gets depleted. So this type of mechanism is very important for health studies because particles can cause what is called the oxidative stress. Here you see a nanoelectrospray. This instrument is used in combination with the high-resolution mass spectrometer that is behind it. And we use it for liquid extraction surface analysis. So with this particular device, combined to the instruments that you see behind it, we can do spatially resolved chemical characterization of various types of samples. And for example, we have used this instrument to do a spatially resolved chemical characterization of petals of flowers. These flowers have very important characteristics because they have some striation on the surface, and this striation can reflect the light with different angles, creating a sort of halo that attracts pollinators. What we didn't know was how the plants can make these striations with these beautiful colors. And thanks to this type of instruments, we can make chemical characterization of different parts of the same petals to see if the chemical composition is different. And so understanding whether it is a chemically driven process that forms these striations or a physically driven process. This is the second mass spectrometer that we have in the lab. This is just a less fancy version of the Orbitrap that you have seen previously. And this instrument works in low resolution, so it's not particularly good for differentiating between the mass of molecules that are very similar to each other. But nevertheless, it's really useful to have a second mass spectrometer, and we mainly use it for instrumental development. We have a project in which we use microfluidics to develop new techniques to analyze organic compounds in ice cores. And this is the instrument that we use that is more widely available for the lab members working on instrumental development compared to the most fancy version, the Orbitrap that you've seen before, that is mainly used for applications. This is the optical lab, and here you can see an electrodynamic balance. The electrodynamic balance can levitate and trap in the air a single atmospheric particle using an electrical field. In this electrical field, you can trap these particles and keep it suspended. And while this particle is suspended, we can do, for example, temperature changes or change the relative humidity. And in this way, we can see whether the particle is able to produce ice nuclei, which is a very important mechanism by which aerosols interact with clouds in the atmosphere and can change the lifetime of the clouds. This has a huge climatic implication because clouds are a very powerful atmospheric component that can reflect the solar radiation back into space, producing a cooling of the atmosphere. So this is the smoke chamber. The smoke chamber is a big reactor that we use to simulate reactions that happen in the atmosphere. The smoke chamber itself is made of Teflon, so this bag that you see inside the panels is made of Teflon. And on the bottom there are lights that we can use to simulate the solar irradiation to promote reactions that happen at daylight. In this smoke chamber we can simulate important reaction for production of aerosols in the atmosphere, and then through some tubes that go through the walls into the other labs, we can take the samples from the smoke chamber and analyze them with the instruments that we have in the lab.